What happens when a man who never wanted power is forced into the most powerful position in the world? What happens when betrayal, paranoia, and revenge consume him, turning him into a ruler feared by all? This is the story of Tiberius, Rome's most disturbed emperor, a man who once served Rome with honor but later became a recluse, executing friends, family, and anyone he suspected of treason. A man who abandoned his empire, retreating into a world of darkness, pleasure, and cruelty. A man whose name became a whisper of fear even centuries later. But how did he become this way? Was Tiberius always a monster? Or did Rome itself break him? Stay with me until the end, as we uncover the dark truth behind the life of Emperor Tiberius. Most people think of Roman emperors like Julius Caesar, Augustus, or Nero, but Tiberius is one of the most fascinating and disturbing figures in Rome's history. He didn't seek power, yet he ruled for over 2 decades. He was a brilliant general, but a paranoid emperor. He had everything but died alone, hated, and feared. By the end of this video, you'll understand how Tiberius went from Rome's greatest general to its most feared ruler. This is not just a story of history. It's a psychological thriller, a tale of power, betrayal, and the darkness of the human mind. Born into a world of politics, 42 BC, a child of destiny, Tiberius was born into a world of power struggles. His father, Tiberius Claudius Nero, was a politician, but his mother, Livia Drusilla, was the one who shaped his future. Livia was one of the most ambitious women in Roman history. She saw an opportunity when Augustus, the future emperor, noticed her. She left Tiberius' father and married Augustus, bringing young Tiberius into the imperial family. From that moment on, his life was no longer his own. He was raised as a future leader, but his destiny was never truly in his hands. Growing up in the shadow of Augustus, as the stepson of Augustus, Tiberius was expected to be perfect, intelligent, disciplined, and strong. He learned philosophy, warfare, and politics. But there was something different about Tiberius. Unlike Augustus, who loved public life, Tiberius was shy and introverted. He didn't enjoy crowds or speeches. He was a soldier at heart, not a politician. Yet, he had no choice but to follow the path Augustus set for him. The first taste of betrayal, a forced marriage. Tiberius had his own dreams and desires, but Rome didn't care about his happiness. His first love was a woman named Vipsania Agrippina. She was kind, intelligent, and loved him deeply. They had a happy marriage, and for a brief time, Tiberius experienced true happiness. But Augustus had other plans. Augustus wanted Tiberius to marry his own daughter, Julia, to strengthen the imperial family. This meant Tiberius had to divorce Vipsania. It was a cruel decision, and it broke him. According to historians, after the divorce, Tiberius once saw Vipsania in the streets and followed her, tears in his eyes. His love was taken from him, and he was forced to marry Julia, a woman he despised. This was the beginning of Tiberius' descent into bitterness and anger. Despite his personal struggles, Tiberius excelled as a general. He was one of Rome's greatest military leaders, leading campaigns in Germany, Pannonia, and the Balkans. His soldiers respected him, but the Roman people did not. No matter how many victories he won, the people loved another man, Germanicus. The shadow of Germanicus. Germanicus was everything Tiberius was not. He was young, charismatic, and adored by the people. As the adopted son of Tiberius, he was seen as Rome's true hero, while Tiberius was always the second choice. This created resentment between them. Even though Tiberius tried to hide it, the jealousy grew. When Germanicus died under mysterious circumstances, people suspected Tiberius had something to do with it. Whether he did or not, this event deepened his paranoia and his hatred for Rome. Tiberius becomes emperor, but hates every moment of it. In 14 CE, Augustus died, and Tiberius became emperor. But he didn't celebrate. He didn't want the throne. Unlike Augustus, who enjoyed power, Tiberius despised it. He hated dealing with the Senate, the people, and the endless politics of Rome. Yet he ruled, and at first he ruled well. Tiberius was efficient, controlled spending, and strengthened the empire's borders. But the people never loved him. No matter what he did, they compared him to Augustus and found him lacking. This fed his bitterness and paranoia. He started seeing enemies everywhere. The reign of terror, betrayal, and paranoia take over. As Tiberius' paranoia grew, so did the number of executions. He feared conspiracies and eliminated anyone he suspected of betrayal, including his own family. Agrippina, Germanicus' widow, exiled and starved to death. Her two sons, Nero and Drusus, executed. His own son, Drusus the Younger, possibly poisoned. Rome became a city of fear. Trials for treason became common, and anyone could be accused. Friendships meant nothing. Loyalty was met with suspicion. Tiberius became the emperor of terror, ruling through fear rather than love. In 26 CE, Tiberius had enough. He left Rome and moved to the island of Capri, leaving his advisor Sejanus in charge. What happened on Capri was the darkest chapter of his life. The wicked life on Capri. On Capri, Tiberius isolated himself from the world. He built grand villas and surrounded himself with young boys, men, and entertainers. Stories of his depravity spread throughout Rome. People whispered about the horrors of Capri, orgies, torture, and cruelty beyond imagination. Some of these tales may have been exaggerated, but they painted a terrifying picture of the emperor. Meanwhile, Sejanus ruled Rome with an iron fist. He became more powerful than anyone else, eliminating his rivals, including members of Tiberius' family. But power made Sejanus reckless. He dreamed of taking the throne for himself. The betrayal of Sejanus. When Tiberius learned that Sejanus was planning to overthrow him, he acted swiftly. In 31 CE, Sejanus was arrested and executed. His family and followers were hunted down and killed. Tiberius, now completely isolated, had no one left to trust. His paranoia had consumed him. The death of Tiberius, the end of a lonely emperor. By 37 CE, Tiberius was old and sick. He retreated further into himself, trusting no one. His death is a mystery. Some say he died naturally, while others claim his successor, Caligula, smothered him. The people of Rome celebrated his death. They hated him so much that when they heard he was dying, they cheered in the streets. Tiberius' story is one of the most tragic in Roman history. He was a brilliant general, a capable leader, and a man who could have been remembered as one of Rome's greatest emperors. But instead, his name became a symbol of fear, cruelty, and paranoia. What makes his tale so haunting is that he wasn't always a monster. He started as a loyal soldier, a man devoted to Rome, and even a loving husband. But betrayal, power, and loneliness changed him. Every person he cared about was taken from him, and every relationship he had was poisoned by political games. Imagine living in a world where you can't trust anyone, not your friends, not your family, not even your own advisors. Every whispered conversation could be a plot against you. Every smile could be hiding a dagger. That was the world Tiberius lived in. And in his paranoia, he destroyed the very people who could have saved him. In the end, he died alone, hated by the people he ruled. No grand funeral, no tearful farewell. Only celebration in the streets at the death of a man who had once been Rome's most powerful ruler. But was Tiberius truly evil? Or was he simply a victim of his own fate, shaped by the ruthless world of Roman politics? His story is a warning about power, fear, and the dangers of isolation. What do you think? Was Tiberius a tyrant, or was he just a man broken by his own circumstances? Let us know in the comments.